Hi everyone, I am Samira and I will be sharing you guys some stuff that I have gathered from Communication Studies Module 1 for Paper 2, and these are some stuff that you really need to know and get the hang of, because I'm telling you, these are the most important things that you have to know in the paper other than anything else for communication studies. So that's just focus on module 1, and these are the necessary things that you need to know. So let's get started. So for communication studies module 1, this module is consisted of the first module, essay, and there'll be some guidelines. So there are 6 levels of understanding, and 1 is literal, 2 interpretive, 3 analysis, 4 application, 5 synthesis, 6 evaluation. And please note that I use the LIAASE to remember the 6 levels, and you can take note of these and remember these stuff to know and what you need to remember when you're reading your essay in module 1. And these are the things that you need to know. And these are the things that you will need when you are writing your essay. However, all of this is put together with a summary, and a summary is a short account of the central idea. However, there are no opinions, background knowledge, personal info in summaries. So, how to summarize? You read the text and don't let big words scare you. You ask, what was this text about? Please don't stray. You look at the main point, okay? You look at the main point in each paragraph, and the main point can be in the first, middle, and ending. Just know that it is not always at the first. Your answer should be in a complete sentence or a short amount of words that is asked for. So, how to understand the essay in communication studies? Because, the essay is what you have to read and try to finalize and analyze, right? So, there are several ways to understanding and decoding an essay in your exam. And there are usually 5 essay formats in the exam paper. But obviously there will be one out of the 5, right? And that is expository, argumentative, persuasive, narrative, and descriptive. Usually the expository, argumentative, and persuasive are the most 3 highlighted, and one of those from the 3 are usually in the essay. So I will show you how to identify these and what you would need to do if you know you have identified any of these, and I will explain more. So for the expository, as you can see, you need these things, and these are the keys of identifying if you know if you're seeing any of these things, it's expository. So there are format, your purpose, your organizational strategies, and your modes of expression. I will go on to explain the modes of expression at the ending of all 5 of the essay formats. So here is expository, here is argumentative, here is persuasive, here is narrative, and here is descriptive. Now, as I was saying before, I would explain modes of expression, right? And well, that is basically the language technique, right? And the organizational strategies and the language technique is totally different from each other, and it will be more explained in the structuring of the essay, where the organizational strategies is what is seen in the essay, where what the writer is plainly showing you that, like, that is how the essay comes together. And the language technique is how the writer uses his words uh, to write the essay. So the organizational strategies is seen in the essay, and the language techniques is how the essay is written. Okay, and the language techniques are where personal pronouns are used. For example, where the writer may use the reader as a part of the essay, where they use you, they, us, we, them, those kind of things in the passage. So they will be using personal pronouns. Um, Please do expect literary devices in every single passage because there is always some literary devices. Please look out for your sound devices such as onomatopoeia and alliteration, so on, and your oral imagery, whatever. Please make sure and look out for sound devices, your literary devices, your figurative language, everything that you can see of literature, look for it because it is always there and you always find it. And you can look up more about that, but I'm just giving you some straight examples of how it is for language techniques. And basically it is personal pronouns and literary devices, tone and mood. Those are of language techniques. But however, the passage or the questions about the passage might ask for validity and reliability, your tone and mood outside of your language technique. So therefore, you can just put it together. Okay? So you don't have to fuss and worry. But however, your organizational strategy and your language technique is totally different. Please take note. Organizational strategy and language technique is totally different. Two different things. Now moving on to the structure of the essay. My communication studies teacher, Mrs. Siddiqa Khan, helped me through this, and well, these are the major things that helped me through this essay writing, and I will just give you a minute to take these down and you will get this right. So now, for the intro, you state your main point and your purpose. Please take note that your main point and your purpose is totally different. Your main point is what the writer is trying to say, okay? Your main point is what the writer is trying to say, and your purpose, well, the writer's purpose is what um, the writer is saying by why. So the purpose is why is the writer saying this? Why? So the main point is what, and the purpose is why. So the purpose is totally different from the main point. So they are two different things. Please do not get mixed up with main point and purpose. So I think you shall go ahead and review these and read through it and take your notes because these help you a lot. Now for the body, you use NIE, name, illustrate, and explain. And this speaks directly to how it achieves the purpose. So you talk about your organizational strategies and your language techniques and make sure and break them down in different paragraphs and all those sorts. And then you use tone, validity, and reliability in the last paragraph before your conclusion. And however, in your conclusion, you always state how the writer's purpose is achieved. Please do not forget that. State how the writer's purpose is achieved finally as you write everything in your body. So state how the organizational strategies and the language techniques, tone, validity, and reliability has achieved the writer's purpose as stated in your introduction, and also the effectiveness of them, which states uh, the example, right? And you state how it works. So that is your effectiveness, and how you should go about your effectiveness is to state the true example or the true interpretation of what those strategies and language techniques and tone, validity, and reliability has worked to the writer's purpose. And that is how you finalize and analyze your essay. So I hope this structuring essay helps because it works, people. It works. But if you want, you can go and look more in depth into each of your topics that you have done, and I hope this has helped you. Now, there is the research and design and data collection. This is for part one, and this is where the qualitative and quantitative data comes in. So first of all, I will go ahead and tell you that qualitative is more subjective and quantitative is more objective. However, qualitative is subjective in terms of emotions, and quantitative is in terms of groupings, like a whole uh, village or community, society, all that. But qualitative is more personal, individual kind of stuff. Like it's more one-to-one kind of basis kind of stuff. And qualitative is not really that much mentioned, but you should do your research about it. And it is definitely a part of it, as you could see, but quantitative is more the dealing part of what is sensed in the paper. So I'll be giving more details on the quantitative part. Okay, so here we go. There are advantages and disadvantages of the quantitative methods that were stated before. And the questionnaire is really convenient as an advantage, and it's flexible and it gathers lots of info, and sorry about that, and it's easy to summarize and compare. However, the disadvantage is where the individual can put useless information and jeopardize the survey by lying, and the individual have no consideration towards the survey. However, the F2F is face-to-face interviews, and the advantages are high response They gain better quality of data. The observation will be sensible on variables, which are the people or thing that you're interviewing or investigating. And there is always first-hand information. Wherever you are face-to-face interviewing, you always have first-hand information, and that is called a primary source, but I will get more in depth into that later on. But however, do not write F to F in your paper. Make sure and write the whole thing face-to-face interviews, okay? Before you lose your marks. And however, there are the disadvantages. The disadvantages can include where traveling is involved and it can be costly. And interviewers don't show up sometimes, and that is really not nice and disrespectful. And that happened, it happened to me already. But there is also biased communication or style of questioning can be present by the interviewer because some interviewers can be a little too in-depth and ask so much biased stuff. And however, the mail surveys, the advantages of these are less expense than face-to-face. It's convenient to distribute to larger numbers in shorter time and in geographical areas in a wide space of geographical areas. Privacy at hand, where the individuals have their own, privacy and they can do whatever they want and, answer their questions at their own mind and avoid biases from interviewers. That is a you know, really good advantage. And checking of personal records if memory fails. So, you can check if you don't remember something during mail surveys because it's, over the internet. But however, the disadvantages are where surveys have to be updated and the researcher has to keep going on and trying to, update everything, and that is, a lot of time. And however, the lower rate response that can really happen. People cannot reply, and ineffective respondents are literate, where people can't read or write. That's really that really can have a really bad effect on the survey. And the slow response rate, so internet can give trouble, and things can't go as planned. And no control over responses, so the researcher cannot control anybody answers and responses, and that's a really bad disadvantage because some people like to ratchet you know now there are types of questions can't be involved, especially when sequencing is seen, so hard luck there. Now there are features of research, and they are structured and systematically processing of information, clear statement and expectation, logical and subjected of critical thinking and validity, and those are the features of research. However, there are variables. A variable is a person, thing, event, or setting, and are concrete and measurable. Variables are age, class, gender, time, and behavior. And they are more so over really, not bad because it's people and things. You can't go wrong with that, right? So there are types of variables, and they are the independent, dependent, and extraneous, or the controlled variable. So the independent variable refers to any variable that is manipulated by the researcher to affect the outcome of the research, right? So they are manipulated basically. So the independent is manipulated by somebody, right? And the dependent is where they influence on the outcome of someone, which is, they influence the independent variable who is manipulated. So the dependent variable always influences on the outcome of one's research, right? And the controlled variable, which refers to those factors that have to be controlled or held constant so that their effect on the outcome of one's research is neutralized. So, therefore, those are the variables, and that is as much as I can say and remember. So, however, there are types of research design, okay? And they are cross-sectional, which aims to study a problem at a given point in time, and longitudinal, which is aims to observe changes and shifts in the behavior of a phenomenon being studied over time. And they are trend, panel, and cohort. A trend is selecting and surveying different representative samples for analysis at different points in time. A panel involves selecting a sample and studying the changes in behavior of the same set of persons over time. And a cohort involves selecting, usually on the basis of age, and studying a specific subgroup within a population as they change over time. So longitudinal is over time researching and collecting of data. And so on, there is experimental, which is where the researcher chooses to observe a particular process, event, feeling, an object, blah, 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 to as a dependent variable. A survey is used to design to investigate attitudes, beliefs, opinions, and so on. A case study is high in depth of studies of events and individuals and group situations and so on. And ethnography or ethnographic is the investigation of the behavior of groups, communities, societies, and cultures. And correlation is where researchers study whether or not variables co-occur with each other. And that is the types of research designs, people. So, final and lastly, the sources. These are some basic things that people will ask in the paper for part one, which is research and design, which I'm telling you about. And there are three types of sources used or found in data collection or research and design. And they are primary, which is the first-hand information, and the original reports on issue, events, experiences. And these can be found in newspaper, artifacts, case files, logs, journals, reports, person's first-hand response. Now, for the questions on these, they might ask you a part of this research data and design question. They will they will know that you're going to put first-hand response as a primary source because that is the most common remembered answer, and they will ask you, please state an example other than the person first-hand response, and you have to give another example besides that. So you can take the other examples and note and make sure and be reliable and sensible when you're answering your questions. And they're secondary. Wow, I spelled secondary wrong. And they are secondary, which is not first-hand but the analyzing of original reports of experiments and clinical trials and critiques. And these can be found in analysis, commentary, editorials, and articles that have been reviewed. And the tertiary is the internet, books, abstracts, bibliographies, and encyclopedia. So these are some sources that you can, state if they ask for any of these. However, this is the end of my this is the end of my review on communication studies, and I hope that you guys have a really good idea on how this paper is set out, and I hope this helps you because these are the main things that you should remember for a paper and your essay and everything. So I will be doing a module 2, and because module 2 is not really out there, so I just want to be grateful for my communication studies teacher for teaching me these things and giving me my notes so that I can put them together and actually help you guys out. And yeah, I hope this helped you guys, and good luck in your exams, and I hope this helped you so much. So all the best, and I will be back with module 2